Have you ever played a sim racing game like Gran Turismo or Forza Motorsport and wondered, could I drive like this in real life? Well, let's find out. I'm going to recreate one of my own cars in Forza Motorsport 7, run some laps on a racetrack in the game, then take my car to that same track in real life and see how my lap times compare. The track I'm choosing for this is Road Atlanta. Why? Because it's the closest Forza 7 track to where I live in Tennessee. Now, I'm definitely no pro racer, but I'm also not a total noob when it comes to driving on a racetrack. I've been doing track events in my poor abused street car since 2016, with maybe half a dozen weekends at Road Atlanta. I'm also not new to the Forza Motorsport games. I've been playing these games since Forza 2 on the Xbox 360. I don't hold any leaderboard records at the ring or anything, but I can at least get around the track with all the assists turned off. So I think I can do a fair comparison here. Let's set the rules. No assists, no rewinds. Okay, so my car does have ABS, but I'm going to turn that off in the game because that's how I roll. In-car dash view only, since I can't drive my own car in the third person. Although wouldn't that be cool? The lap must be clean. I won't take any shortcuts that I wouldn't do in real life. Forza is pretty strict about this already, and will mark my lap as dirty if I go too far off track. Okay, let's set up the car. I'll be using my 2016 Ford Focus RS. This should be pretty easy because my Focus is nearly stock. So the only thing I'm going to change in Forza is the wheels and tires. Oh look, they have my ugly gold RPF 1s. My wheels are 18s, but Forza doesn't let you go down a size, which sucks. So we'll stick with the 19s. My car has Falken 615K Plus tires, which are 200 tread wear, so I'll pick sport tires and bump up the size to 245s to match. And there we go, it's pretty close. I do have a tune on my car, but after the intercooler gets hot, that doesn't really help me. And I have a vented carbon fiber hood that probably doesn't cancel out the weight of my sunroof. I'll be doing this test on my modestly priced PC rig, which includes a Thrustmaster wheel, shifter, and pedals. Yes, my computer is made of Legos. Since we're going for realism here, I'll even wear my helmet. Alright, let's do this! So most of my laps were in the low 139s, with a couple dipping into the 138s. My fastest lap was a 138.626. Do I think I can match that in real life? No way. For one thing, it's obvious to me right off the bat that the Forza version of my car is way faster than the real thing. I think a big part of that is that Forza does not model intake temperatures, which is a real power killer on track, especially for small turbo engines that use large amounts of boost to make power. Other factors you don't see in Forza are brake fade, humidity, fuel weight, and driver weight. Then there is always the real factor, like it's harder to drive when you're being tossed around, and I'm not as brave when there's a chance that I might put my shiny car into a tire wall. But let's see how close I can come, and we'll compare best laps. Off to Road Atlanta! Alright, so I'm here at Road Atlanta with the Focus. Oh crap, I forgot the car. Oh, no, just kidding. It's over there. So it's Friday night. I'm all checked in here. I'm going to go get checked into the hotel, and tomorrow morning I will be on track, and it's going to be freezing cold. Luckily, I'm on street tires, but not going to be very fast. But it's supposed to warm up into the upper 50s, close to 60 tomorrow, and then Sunday a little bit warmer than that. So hopefully I'll get some halfway decent times. Definitely not going to touch that time I made on Forza, but we'll see how close I can get. So before I begin, you might notice that the track looks different than it does in Forza. That's because Forza Motorsport 7 came out in 2017, a couple years before the Michelin man himself bought a Road Atlanta and did some renovations. Even the color scheme is different, but the track layout itself is unchanged, so it should be a good comparison. Anyway, here we go. Saturday started off cold and slow, with the first sessions cut short by spinouts. As my tires warmed up and I started to find grip, it became pretty apparent that something was up with my brakes. The pedal kept getting softer and I found myself having to brake way early and pump the pedal. A quick check of all 4 corners led me to this obvious problem. I tried bleeding them with the tools I had on hand, but even after retightening all the bleed screws, the pedal still went to the floor after a few laps. The fastest lap I managed on Saturday was a
1 40
3.917. The next morning, I had Corsa crew, the on-site mechanics, have a go at getting all the air out of my brakes. Then I was literally back on track. But before the yellow flag even came up on the first session, this happened. In the next session, it became clear that even the pros couldn't sort out my brakes, and the pedal went soft again after a few laps. I'm running Hawk DTC 60 track pads, which is my usual go-to pad. I've never had them overheat, so I suspect there is still a very small leak in the system somewhere. I still got 3 sessions in on Sunday before the brakes totally became useless and I called it a weekend. While I was able to improve a bit on most of the course, having to brake way early and pump the pedal definitely cost me. My best time on Sunday was only slightly faster at 1:43.714. So the final results, I was a hair over 5 seconds slower in real life than in Forza Motorsport 7. So where did I fall short? Well, obviously the brakes were a factor, especially coming into 10A. I had to lift early and pump the brakes way up here at the top of the hill instead of down at the bottom, which limited my top speed. I also couldn't get full power out of the brakes, even with the pedal to the floor, so my braking distances were longer everywhere. It's also obvious on this long straightaway how much faster the Forza version of my car is. I'm sure part of this has to do with Forza not accounting for the things I mentioned earlier, like driver weight and intake temperatures. I also noticed that in Forza, the car makes peak power nearly to redline, which is not how this car works in real life. Power actually starts to drop off well before the red line, with Ford setting the optimal shift point at 5,900 RPM for a stock car. There's even a little RS shift light that pops up in the dash at this RPM. This is why you'll see me shifting early a lot. But another factor is definitely fear, especially in turn 12. This turn is infamously tricky and dangerous. Getting the car even a little bit upset can spell disaster here. I've seen a few cars go into the wall on both sides, so I don't push it on this turn like I do in Forza. I found myself lifting a bit more through the S's as well. If you make a little mistake in turn 3, you can find yourself in a really bad spot by the time you get to turn 5. The walls here are not friendly, as a few cars found out over the weekend. So I hope you enjoyed this comparison, even though it wasn't quite apples to apples like I had hoped. There is a new Forza game coming out later this year, so you better believe I'll be doing this again. And yes, before anyone asks, I would love to do this in Gran Turismo, but I don't own a PlayStation. But maybe I'll do another track in the future, or perhaps a different car. Let me know in the comments what game, what track, what car I should do next, cause yes, I'll just go out and buy a new car. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This has been Unreasonable Speed. Thanks for watching.